All right. Well, hello, everyone. This is Marques McCammon here with you for Good Karma Conversations. And today I have Mircea Gradu with us, actually, Dr. Mircea Gradu, who is our VP of Engineering. So it's really exciting for me to have you here because, you and I have a few things in common, right? So my OEM career started at Chrysler before it became Fiat Chrysler, before it became Daimler Chrysler, then Fiat Chrysler, and then later Stellantis. You were also there. I started my career in the powertrain department. You ran the powertrain department at Chrysler. You and I both spent some time moving around to different automakers, had a stint in startups. So you've done everything from LiDAR to fuel cell technologies. You've been very active in SAE, in Faceta. I mean, so you are widely regarded as a technical leader across the industry. And now you're here with us at Karma, helping us to build out the future of our little auto company. And it's exciting because when I started at Chrysler, it was the birth of the SRT division, right? And so writing that business plan and basically creating a whole new identity for the Chrysler brand that's gone on to make hundreds of millions of dollars, lots and lots of great vehicles, and then going from there into Saleen and doing performance vehicles there and doing contract manufacturing for different automakers, running software with Intel and Wind River Systems, then to Ricardo, where we're building engines for the 4GT and transmissions for GT3 and all this kind of stuff. And it's like it's funny. Like I think our careers just always just passed each other, and now we have the opportunity to work together. So really excited to have you. And I mean, why don't you tell me a little bit more about you other than the high summary that I just did?
Well, I'm equally excited, and thank you so much for the introduction. Indeed, I think our careers overlapped, through over decades, literally, like you said, starting with the early time at Chrysler and then the way it evolved.
But you were at Mercedes before that.
I started my career at Daimler, indeed, in Germany, and quite honestly, that was super exciting for me at the time because it was also related to powertrain. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about joining Karma, from my perspective, is that the vehicle itself is a superb vehicle that allows us to actually explore a lot of things at the vehicle level. Nevertheless, the powertrain is where we see a lot of differentiation these days. And through my exposure through FICITA, which is the International Federation of the Automotive Societies, through SAE International, I think I understood that, again, in today's world in particular, what Karma is pursuing, and specifically the EREV technology, is something that would allow us to differentiate and build on this incredibly valuable capital that we have in the vehicle itself, but then perhaps make it even more appealing to customers, even more relevant in today's, if you want, uncertain environment in from the energy perspective and from many other political perspective as well. So I think great opportunity for me. I feel like home. I feel like in a family. I literally feel like home because Irvine is my hometown. And then, like you said, with us having so many touch points through our careers, I feel very confident and comfortable working here and working with the team at Karma.
Well, honestly, I'm honored. I mean, and one of the things that's exciting for me, we talk about building America's ultra-luxury brand. Mm-hmm. And your career has spanned Mercedes, you've touched Maserati, you've touched all the Stellantis brands, you've touched Ferrari. So you really do have a broad perspective as to what the experience is in vehicles, from what I'd say is mass market brands to the pinnacle of ultra luxury brands. So how do you think that you bring all of that experience to bear when you think about the Karma portfolio?
Well, I think that's an excellent question, and perhaps a great segue into, again, the differentiators for Karma. But before we get into that, from my perspective and my personal experience, Karma is the pinnacle of everything what I dealt with in my career. So I wore the hat of a quality lead, as an example, to one of the brands that honestly made headways in terms of improving very rapidly quality. So for the type of customers and the market that we are appealing to, I think quality is extremely important. So I plan to continue to wear that hat
Excellent.
of quality. And in addition to that, certainly, as I said, and you mentioned it as well, the powertrain experience is extremely valuable. But at the vehicle level, there are many other aspects that I think for the very exclusive customer that we have, which is a blend of interest in a sporty vehicle as well as a very comfortable vehicle. We have some, if you want, tricks in our sleeves these days where we can actually address both
Yes.
ends of this kind of pretty wide spectrum of customer expectations. And so you set the tone very nicely. For me in general and for our company over the last 3.5 years, this company was literally being turned around. And under your leadership, I think the aspiration to actually be effective in this very particular niche market started to materialize. And
Well,
I think
thank you.
I'm super happy to support that. And again, when we start to talk concretely about the technology and the aspects that actually will play in favor of that, I think we have a lot to say.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, when you're trying to form the concept and the direction for a company, let alone a car company, it's complicated, right? And you're always wondering whether or not you're getting the pieces right. But I think when I looked at it, the notion is that we are going to have scarce energy resources. I think that universally there is a acknowledgement of that. When you're in a situation where oil prices can fluctuate depending on a conflict on someplace on the other side of the planet, or energy prices can fluctuate depending on what's happening with weather. Us thinking about how that can affect all of humanity, I think it's just a reality. But I think the notion that you have to accept some level of compromise, I think that's hard for me to swallow, right? And so a lot of times I hear people say, "Oh, you're an EV company," or you guys are just a clean car company. To me, I think that's a very, very narrow view of thinking. For me, I want to make vehicles that people fall in love with first, right? And I want to touch all 5 of your senses, because to me, that is what the automobile represents. It is tantamount to personal freedom and personal expression. I think the second thing is, as an engineer, right? And I'm still an engineer. That's still what my degree says. I think that our job is always to figure out how to make more with less efficiency, right? So I want to make more power with less displacement. I want to make more speed with less input. I want to, have more energy output with less wasted heat. I mean, efficiency is a part of what we do. So if I can figure out a way to give you the benefits of the efficiency of electric drive, e-motors 90% plus efficient, right? But then I can also take away any notion of compromise. All right? I don't need to worry about range anxiety. I don't need to worry about how long does it take to recharge or refuel or what have you. I can keep that in a very normal space. But then I can also give you the opportunity to be expressive, also give you the opportunity to have spirited and exciting driving, and still have the ability to appeal to all of your senses. I think that I'm blending the art and the science, right? And I think we're offering something different. That's what I'm hoping to get to, but ultimately, I'm putting that burden on you.
Well, I think you already paved the path very nicely for us, for the engineering team, to actually, as I said, materialize that, because we're not starting from scratch at all. In the last years, certainly there was, all the activities pertaining to perfecting the EREV technology, but I think that the new aspects that you brought in are extremely valuable and relevant, and that is making this an emotionally appealing vehicle. And we all talk about and the car guys in particular are enamored in engine sound, as an example. And in our case, we have the ability to make that in a very natural way, in a very authentic way, without the, if you want, gimmicks that are being played when you actually are in a pure EV vehicle without the source of sound.
Yes.
Definitely not noise. It's a beautiful sound.
It
that
is a
we want to
beautiful sound.
Yeah, and we want to explode it, and we want to make sure that, again, we have that, like you called it always, the dual personality
Yes.
of in a good way, of the vehicle, because we are playing this in a very smart way, and I'm very, very keen and very happy to be part of actually reducing complexity, if you want, and guiding us towards something that is very crisp and very effective with the customer. And that is the various driving modes,
Yes.
which, in a nutshell, the really relevant ones that are describing, the duality of the vehicle, like you put it before, are the stealth mode, where
Yes.
the vehicle is literally behaving like an EV, and then at the other extreme, we have something that we're calling sport mode, and it's not just the powertrain. There are some other components in that, usually, but in our case, there is a lot of focus on the powertrain and the exhaust sound. So I think we can improve on that. I think there are a lot of other benefits, not only from the, if you want, sensory perception of the customer, but there is a lot of other value to the customer, and ultimately that's what we are after.
Exactly.
With our approach. So again, we can talk, and we will talk more about this EREV technology as we make it again a true car guys type of
Yes.
a feature.
Yes.
But then we can talk also about EREV technology paving the ground for ultimately what we believe is the future of transportation, which has a very, very heavy electrification component. And
Yes.
to what degree we can debate on that, but that's...
Yeah, Akio Toyota said that there's no one way, and I agreed with him right from the beginning. And there's a lot of different modes of propulsion that we have available to us. I think the thread is efficiency, right? And I think I think for us, when we talk about EREV or extended range electric or series hybrid is the term I prefer to use. I think the opportunity for me to have all of the above is what's really exciting. Because there are some times when I do want dead quiet driving. I do want, well, I always like the immediate torque that you usually get from an EV. But there's some times where the benefit of that quiet driving that you get with an EV it's just appealing. If you haven't experienced it, once you do, it's like, oh wow, this is something special. But the other side of me, right? I always feel like I'm somewhat two-faced, right? The other side of me, I want to rev the throttle. I want to sit at a stoplight. Every now and then I want to spin the tires. I do want to go on the track, and I want to feel the vehicle rumble. And the idea that I can have all of it and still have it in an authentic way. We had conversations, and it was like, oh, should we make a synthetic engine sound? No offense to anyone who's doing it. I'm not for synthetic. When we said we wanted to make our body panels out of carbon, we used 2x2 twill carbon fiber on all the body panels. We deliberately don't paint the underside so you can see it and you can feel it, right? So I think for us, authenticity is critical, and I think it also unlocks an opportunity for us to really have a unique technical basis, right? Where I think whether we talk about inverter technology, controls technology, motor, gearbox, how we look at battery and battery management, how do we look at the overall connection between the driver and the drive system, I think there's a huge opportunity for us to write a new definition of performance that effectively starts now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you described very well, in fact, our very discerning customer.
Yes.
And with the expectations that you laid out. And I think in terms of the benefits specifically related to efficiency, like you said, there are many types of efficiency, right? We can talk certainly about the powertrain or the vehicle efficiency, but there is also an efficiency of using the components and the ingredients in the system very well. And ultimately, it's, as you well know, in today's world, it's not about the basket of parts that you're putting together. They can be a very good collection of individual components with a lot of good brand names on them and so on, but what counts is the refinement in making the system operate. And system level refinement is, I think, where our opportunity lies. And on that note, it becomes very efficient actually to like we said, use the EREV components, electric motors, inverters, battery technology, and reuse them if you want in the BEV technology that we
Yes.
are also promoting. I think it's good at this point perhaps to clarify that within this world of acronyms, a lot of people use the PHEV
Yes.
terminology,
Yes.
plug-in. For clarification, we are a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle.
That's right.
Like you mentioned, and that's a subtlety that sometimes is getting missed, we are a series hybrid.
That's right.
And the series hybrid technology is not necessarily novel at the conceptual level, and even did materialize in many applications, a couple of, well, about a century ago,
Yes,
actually,
exactly.
in automotive.
Exactly.
And also in the locomotive.
And rail,
and
that's right.
rail and locomotive technology is very familiar with that. But I think we brought it, first of all, we pioneered it in the vehicle that is a very unique segment, which is the luxury sedan segment with a lot of sporty aspirations. So
That's right.
we did that, and we continue to improve on that. To your point, I mean, we have the ability to spin tires, we do donuts on the parking lots, and we create that extreme, satisfactory kind of experience for the customers that are looking for that. But then we can operate in a super quiet mode where, again, the refinement comes into play. And that refinement in today's world is part of the software-defined vehicles. It's part of the, in general, software development and controls. And I think we have a lot of advantages in terms of gaining from 10 plus years of experience, decade plus experience in this field, where today you see a lot of new entrants.
Yes.
You see a lot of
Yes.
people embracing this for relatively obvious reasons, but I think we have, as I said, a head start, and we have, for sure, we are the leader in our own segment.
That's right.
So.
Well, you said a couple things that I want to double down on. So one, we were the first company to put the extended range or series hybrid solution into the luxury segment, right? That is Karma's, period, right? I mean, there are other brands who have experimented with it after, and there are others who are proposing that they're going to do it into the future, but that is where we started. And that's been a part of our identity from the beginning. I think the second thing is we have been working on this thing for 10 years. Right, there's a lot of times people, they don't know the history of our company, or they confuse us with other companies, and they think, oh, well, you stopped and started, or you just started the company yesterday. No, Karma's been in operation for a decade, and it's been consistently operating for a decade, and it's been focused on this technology for that time. Now, I think that there was some opportunity, at least for me, when I joined, to really refine that focus and enhance it so that we could really create an identity that was going to be uniquely ours, especially now when, the next couple of years, we expect to see a lot more series hybrids coming into the marketplace. But I think in our segment, like you said, as the leader, but then also for us to keep iterating on that, keep defining what the next and the new can be, I think that's something I'm really excited about and frankly proud of. But I want to pivot it and turn it to a question. So when you walk into a company like Karma, having been in, like I said, Daimler, Fiat Chrysler, Temkin, Velodyne,
Power systems?
exactly, Hyundai, Kia, right?
Mm-hmm.
What excites you and what worries you?
Well, I have a long career, and that's one way to say where you're in your life. And
Yes.
And thank you for the reminder, by the way. But I feel, quite honestly, super excited, and I feel young when you come into a company like Karma. You feel professionally and physically young because
Yes.
it's a super stimulating environment where everything is possible. You're what characterizes, as you know, youth is this incredible courage of
Yes.
facing the world with the expectation that you can conquer any difficulties, and I see a lot of that in Karma. Some of it certainly is based on perhaps a more naive approach, not knowing what's
I call it brilliant naivety.
Brilliant naivety, exactly, and so that's. But on the other hand, you have to kind of encourage and foster that, because that's one way one way that leads to progress, especially in the engineering world. Not having preconceived ideas, not having the fear to try new things,
Right.
and ultimately innovate at a high pace. So I think why I'm so excited at Karma is because we have a very dynamic team that is very well balanced in terms of both, people that do know exactly what the boundaries are of
Yes.
what's feasible, but we also have the people that challenge those boundaries, and
Yes.
I really enjoy that. I enjoy the opportunity to mentor our team, and purely from the product and from the various routes that the company can take, I think, again, the sky is the limit right now, and I think for the specific EREV technology, we have to really understand that in today's world where engine efficiency evolved tremendously from, even 5 to 10 years ago,
Right.
because various reasons. The e-motor technology is on a very rapid, almost skyrocketing type of trajectory in terms of technology. Controls the battery technology, not speaking about that. So all these ingredients are all enabling a system level efficiency that is up to us to, again, materialize. And the simple example in technical terms, if you can make the operation between the engine that drives the generator efficiency and characteristics, and that combined with, if you want, smart use of the generator as a motor as well at the wheel end, or to drive the vehicle, I think that's a big plus, and that's an art, to your point, that still has to be, kind of investigated from the scientific perspective and technical perspective. So I think the industry is not there. We're still putting together components.
That's right.
And hoping for the best sometimes, but I think we do have the tools and the intelligence and the aspiration to make that, if you want, one of the most efficient powertrains. And that's why I'm excited about. I mean, again, in larger companies, you have many other routes that you have to pursue in parallel. There is a dilution of your attention. There is a
Yes.
dilution of your efforts. In Karma, we have the ability to actually stay more focused, and I'm looking forward to, help with that.
And I have to give you a lot of credit. I mean, for I remember a time when I was in the career, and I'm sure you had the same, where you were the young guy, right? And you were the one who was challenging. And now I'm on the other side, and I'm the one talking to the young guys and saying, oh well, here are the parameters and here are the boundaries. I think it takes a lot as an engineer, a career technical professional such as yourself, to know the boundaries but not allow it to encumber your team's creativity. And I like watching you when you're working with the young engineers, and how you always encourage them to keep pushing, even though in the back of your mind you're like, yeah, you might have gone over the line, right?
Try that.
You probably do that with me too. So,
No,
but I think that is what unlocks the magic, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, I think we're at a time where what we know as performance and driving and driving efficiency and emotion is getting redefined. It was a big tear up. I like F1. You and we talk about F1 all the time. And when they announced the 2026 car, it's going to be 50-50 power, and we've got half of it coming from the battery, the other half coming from a small displacement V6. I mean, but the emotion of F1 is not lost, right? But the evolution of how they think about management of power and management of energy throughout the track, it created a whole nother. To me, it created a whole nother dimension. Some people don't like it as much because it's new, but I think it's brilliant. I mean, and the opportunity to look at newer, cleaner fuels, newer ways of managing energy. How can I get more out of it? I mean, Formula E is going into, I think, their 4th gen car, and now they're looking at vehicles that they can completely recharge in seconds. So, I mean, all of these innovations are happening, and we're right smack in the middle of it. And then we're figuring out how to take what's happening at the edge, at the pinnacle, and bring it into a consumer space. To me, that's very exciting.
It is, and again, I was fortunate enough, we are fortunate as a company to be on a clear path that from the technical perspective is the most efficient, without any doubt. So when you talk about, again, the terminology and the fact that we are a series hybrid, plug-in hybrid, versus the parallel hybrids that abound, quite honestly, in today's world, you can make the argument that yes, there is economies of scale that help with transmission components that are certainly commodity at this point in time and relatively inexpensive. Nevertheless, we do not have that component, so there is nothing better than not having
exactly
that,
something else to draw energy away, right?
Right, and so that's one aspect of the efficiency. Then we have, as I mentioned before, the ability to match the engine with a generator and then proliferate the technology of the generator also as a motor within the same vehicle, extract the benefits of that. Then we have the ability to control a lot the features on the vehicle because we have this independent wheel control that we talked a lot about. And again, torque vectoring means different things in different people's minds. And honestly, when I'm thinking about torque vectoring, and I was trying to actually proliferate that approach that speaks to literally what is the benefit for the customer, for the driver, for the vehicle. And ultimately, it's yaw control. You control the yaw rate on the vehicle.
That's right.
In order to do that, you have to have the decoupling and the independence that we have with our e-motors. And you may say, well, that's not necessarily something new. Well, again, the devil is in details, and the way we refine the controls and the way we put actually the very high amount of torque that we have available in the vehicle on the ground, that's something that will continue to differentiate us.
Yes.
So coming back, we can spin tires and we can make a lot of
make
things.
Donuts and have a lot
right?
of fun.
On the other hand, for the customer that wants that ultimate acceleration, we all know that spin is not good.
That's
we
right.
have the ability to control that. We have, again, a lot of technology within and institutional, if you want, knowledge within Karma accumulated, like you said, over a decade plus that will help us in this endeavor. So I'm looking forward to, again, the next car shows, the next events, because that's where we actually see the rubber meets the ground literally in these events. And I think we will have the ability to impress both through our styling, truly stunning vehicles that attract the most complimentary comments, independently if it's the exquisite customer that we are targeting or some that perhaps are looking at this vehicle as something unaffordable.
Right.
You get the same type of incredible reaction to the looks.
Yes. So, Mircea, that's a good segue, right? So we've talked about the fact that, there's two sides of Karma, right? We want to be technically superior. We want to make sure that we have beautiful vehicles. We're working really hard to make sure that we're appealing to all five senses. But we want to make sure that we're delivering the vehicles in a way that there's very little compromise. And so this is all going to come together for us very soon as we get ready to launch the Giacera, right? So Giacera is the first truly all-new vehicle the company's done in about 7 years. And it'll be the first one that we launch under your watch. So why don't you tell us about the Giacera and what's got you excited about it?
Yeah, a lot of things, and quite honestly, not to take anything away from the fact that the vehicle is a brand new vehicle, and I'm really looking forward to have that under my belt as a successful launch. Meanwhile, I think it's important to mention that there are elements of, if you want, the pedigree that the vehicle has that make it very unique and very differentiated. And I'll use a couple of examples. As you know, we have a vehicle with a very, very low center of gravity.
Yes.
And in this segment, I think having the weight distribution that we have, not only in terms of the battery pack location, but also the front to rear weight distribution, which is nearly ideal. The 4753 front to rear is something that a lot of people dream about in terms of even race-oriented vehicles. We have that. We have an extremely low vehicle with a beautiful stance on the road, very stable, very, very well planted. So there are a lot of things that I think at the vehicle level we should be very proud of and emphasize, as we go through this journey. There is, in addition to that, a lot of innovation happening on the powertrain side, as we said. And one of the things that you drove us toward materializing with the launch of the vehicle is if this emotional feel and if you want the no compromise in any one of the sport and stealth mode specifically. Certainly we have also the sustain mode, which is helping with the range and maintaining the state of charge of battery. But those two extreme modes, I think they are no compromise literally. And so I think just conceptually, the vehicle is well set, again, from the architectural perspective, at the vehicle level, from the powertrain perspective. It's very well set for success. Now that the devil is in the details, and in this segment we want to emphasize quality. So I think everything from the interior quality to paint quality to all the perceived quality on the vehicle, those are elements that we're also very, very strongly focusing on. And I joined in a phase where I think we still can make a lot of impact, although the tone was set very, very well, but I think I can also help from that perspective. On the quality side, we know that there are many elements of quality, and one that, again, I learned the hard way, and perhaps the industry learned the hard way, and you are very familiar with the topic as well, as the software quality.
Yes.
And software is essentially what impacts the customer perception in so many aspects that it essentially drove also the introduction of the technology index at J.D. Power, which is a measure of how well the new technology and everything else that the vehicle comes with, very highly touted as features that should be appreciated. Well, does the customer really appreciate them?
That's right.
And it comes to the quality of execution at the software level. And it's everything from the infotainment down to the powertrain refinement. And I think, again, that's just one aspect of quality. Then the more kind of, if you want, familiar aspects of quality to the end user, to our customers, are certainly the perceived quality within the vehicle. And that pertains to everything from the stitching on the leather and, if you want, the IP, lighting, the chimes in the vehicle, everything that creates the ambience in the vehicle that makes you truly experience the luxury that we want to subject our customers to. And then it comes down to some of the comments that we heard also from the team relay to the negative effects of complexity, which we want to mitigate.
That's right.
And I think, again, our philosophy is, and again, it's also translated into our quality. Don't make things complicated. Our quality approach is to actually value and promote exactly what has a direct positive impact on our customers.
That's right.
And I think, again, it's a lot of aspects that, like I said, it's the software quality and everything on that particular topic, the interior paint, overall vehicle appearance. There is then the, if you want, durability, reliability aspect in certain conditions that, again, are relatively extreme, because we'll take the vehicle to the track, we'll make this vehicle actually feel good.
Yeah.
And we wanted to pass all this kind of, if you want, unique operating points successfully. So we have, if you want, usage profile that is a bit different from the traditional
That's right.
customers within the industry, but I think we adapted very well to that, and we know exactly how to define our duty cycles, how to define the requirements, anything from the vehicle level down to the components, and work also with our supply base to ensure quality at every level.
One of the things that had to be fun is, you come into the company and you guys planned a track day. And you took the vehicles out and took them to the track. And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because we treat the Thunder Hill, which is one of the iconic racetracks in California, we treat it as a kind of proving ground as well.
Yes.
So quite honestly, yes, there is a fun factor associated with driving on the track, and the guys were super excited. I was also like a kid in a candy store, and
But you're always about business, though.
yeah, about business and about safety as well.
Yes.
That's another aspect which is very
Exactly.
important. But I think we accomplished a lot, not only in terms of establishing the boundaries of our vehicle performance, but also treating, as I said, as a development event
Yes.
for us. And there are a lot of things that we actually experienced and learned from that from the track days, beyond certainly, again, 0 to 60 acceleration and max speed. But we learned a lot about how the vehicle handles. We learned a lot about how the powertrain, or where the powertrain limits are in terms of sustained battery power, as an example, or in terms of the ability to mitigate any kind of undesired thermal condition, either on the motors, on the inverters, so everything. We had the vehicles instrumented as well,
Yes.
which is pretty uncommon when you go just
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
for a
Just for
track
fun.
day, yeah, just for
For
fun.
track day.
So we plan to do more of that. We also had the baseline vehicles compared to the GSLR, so kind of A to B comparison to, again, learn. So it's all a learning exercise, and we are very fortunate actually to have more of these opportunities in California. There is certainly not only the, as I said, the iconic race venues, but there is also the Bonneville Salt Flats, where you
that's
can actually safely take the vehicle to max speed and establish that limit if you would like. Hope for a world record on that. That's something that we can aspire to. For our category, it's entirely feasible.
Exactly.
So I think we are on the right track there. And again, we'll blend that fun, because our team has fun, and that will continue.
Yes.
But we'll blend that with the professionalism that's
Without
required
question.
in vehicle development. So
Well, I always liken it to being a member of a race team, right?
Mhm.
So when you sit back and we watch racing, whether it's IMSA or Le Mans or Formula, it's so exciting, and you're watching the cars, and they're kind of volleying for position. But behind them, there's a whole team that's analyzing every movement, every temperature, every force vector, right? And so, the fact that we incorporate that same thinking into our design process, I don't think a lot of people who buy a car understand that's a part of the journey.
right.
So, GSera. So now you have an aluminum space frame car, carbon fiber body panels, forged wheels. I know that you've got at least a couple different suspension variations that you're
Yes.
bringing to the table.
Mhm.
You've got a new 566 horsepower drive system, fastest 0 to 60 that we've ever seen in an E-Rev anywhere in the U.S. For sure.
Good, yes.
You talked about quality and materials. You're importing leather from Scotland at Bridge of Ware. It's hand stitched. You've added more cabin space in the cabin, whole new interior. You did, however, keep the GT, the Grand Coupe kind of form factor.
Right.
Which I think is great, because I think it gives a good baseline for Karma's brand portfolio as we go forward. So it's a very drivable. I think of it like my everyday driving supercar. What of all the attributes of the vehicle, which attribute has you the most excited?
Honestly, I think the vehicle handles superbly for
Yes.
a vehicle of that size. And I think I'm fascinated continuously about the handling and some of the attributes that, again, for a long vehicle and a large, comfortable vehicle, are uncommon, including turning radius, which is absolutely spectacular for a vehicle like this. So it makes it very easy to maneuver on tight parking lots, and nobody should be scared about the length of the engine hood and things like this, which again is speaking enormously to our beautiful styling, but then it doesn't become a detriment in terms of how the vehicle maneuvers and so on.
Exactly.
So handling, and then the vehicle dynamics overall, And everything that you can get out of this powertrain is absolutely spectacular because in a very nimble way, you can actually accelerate to, like you said, the 3.7 figure that we determined to 0 to 60. Okay, that's relevant, but also in normal driving conditions, you can really have that rewarding experience.
That's
and
right.
It goes beyond that, quite honestly. We continue to have a lot of reserve, a lot of flexibility. At higher speeds, the elasticity is enormous because our torque delivery to our e-motor technology is very good. And we managed to put that on the ground very well. And so I think handling and vehicle dynamics are something that really excite me in
Yeah.
performance.
For me, I want each one of our vehicles to have a different character, right? So I don't think that, a lot of times people get enamored, like you said, it's just straight line 0 to 60. I think that is a single attribute. But if you're truly a driver, then you want a vehicle that has quickness, it has speed, it has agility, it has maneuverability. And I think we will index on each one of those. There'll be a different hysteresis
Right.
for each vehicle that we launch. I think that what you've done with Giacera, it's very, very balanced, right? And like I said, to me, it feels like an everyday supercar. And I think that as we continue to go forward, you're giving a signal as to what's to come, right? In terms of driving experience and driving dynamics.
Yeah, there are many others that we have in the pipeline that are equally exciting and perhaps in a spider diagram chart emphasizing some of the other
attributes,
things that
yes.
are attributes that are equally appealing. And I cannot wait, to see that happening and then benchmark them against each other and actually experience that real life. We have a very discerning customer base, but nevertheless, I had the pleasure to actually drive with many of them in the vehicle, and the reaction is incredible. So I feel stimulated by seeing how well they respond to everything what we put in the vehicle and the passion that we are treating the vehicle with.
Yes.
So.
Well, I tell you, here at Karma, for me, I feel like it's the culmination of my whole career, right? From high volume manufacturing to niche vehicle manufacturing, doing contract manufacturing, supercars, software, you mentioned software, powertrain development, all of it feels like it's coming together. And I feel like you have the same feeling,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm super excited to have you here as a part of the team. And I think you bring a great dimension to the company technically, but also your passion for the job, right? I rarely ever see you walking around with the team where you're not smiling, even when there's a big challenge. You find the way to keep the team motivated. So I'm excited for what you've already brought to Karma, and I'm really excited for our customers to see what you're bringing to them.
Yeah, thank you for the vote of confidence, and honestly, I expect to build the same within our teams, and I see a lot of people that deserve the same and more, and I think, again, we are a great team, and we're set for success. From my perspective, I'm looking forward to actually, again, see that time when we have, a line of 5 different characters
Yes.
next to each other that we can just, that would justify that big smile that you're talking about. So,
Exactly. Well, thank you, Mircea. I appreciate your time.
thank you.
And thank you guys for another good Karma conversation.